So how many of us go through our day, with different stress, with school, with jobs, and just a busy life? As I like to say, your soul called, it wants to talk. We're so busy, day in, day out, do we ever take time to listen to ourselves? Listen to that quiet voice, our guidance? How many of us know exactly what we need to do, but yet just don't seem to find the time to do it? But yet do a million gazillion other things. Tonight's going to start it over the next 2 nights too. I'll be giving you more techniques how to reclaim yourself and really start listening to the real you. In science, meditation is the subject of over 1,000 research studies have been done on meditation in a variety of different fields. You name it, it's been done from psychology to endocrinology to stress. Everyone's been doing it. A wonderful wealth of information, and it's routinely used in a variety of clinical approaches. Doctors and therapists use it for stress reduction and pain reduction. So meditation has a basis in science, and it's getting more and more credibility every year. Another interesting thing is because of our wonderful techniques and scientific methods, they've actually proven that different meditation techniques actually give different brainwave results. So we can actually alter the function of our brain through different meditation techniques. So one technique or another can produce different results at a brain level, which I don't know about you, but I think that's really kind of cool. So here's a question for you. What does meditation mean to you? So go ahead and form a small group. I think you're already clustered a little bit. And just take a minute or two and just discuss for a minute, because you're here for a reason, right? And if you don't know why you're here, then what are you going to get out of it? So just take a moment and just think about, what does meditation, when we say meditation, what images does that bring up? What do you think? What do you feel about it? Go ahead and just take a moment and just, cluster up maybe 3-4 people and just discuss it. Feel free.
You click on it, just you can hear a little thing and there's some light.
Oh, sorry, for a little bit.
Sometimes you hear like a little buzz.
Okay.
Because you're already connected.
It also
Reconnect, because we kind of unplug ourselves.
So really?
You kind of have to go and plug yourself back up.
Yeah, the meditating quiet things down and then listening.
Yeah, that's so easy. Well, that's why you usually like the 5 minutes.
Explain what I want done in that meditation.
And then discuss with the group too, what are the benefits of meditation? So transition? If you already did? Well, keep going. So the idea is, what does meditation mean to you, and what are the benefits?
And you explain what you want done in that meditation.
You don't say it out loud or
No, it's hard to say it out loud.
Bear with me.
And then what I do is after that I start a deep breathing. Cause my whole body to begin to relax all the way down. Release my arm, release my chin,
You start with your eyes, you start with
oh, my whole head.
You start at the bottom
No,
and
I
then
start at the top and go down. I do, but anyway, that's the right way. That's how I do it, and I've been doing it now for 2 years. And I meditate.
All right. Do we got some good responses? We good? All right. So what I would like to invite, if 1 or 2 people would like to just give an idea of what they feel that meditation is, because I think that as we go around as a group, we can get some good answers. Laura, would you help out? Yeah. Anyone have? So what's meditation mean to somebody? Anybody? Raise your hand.
Sure,
I know.
turn it on.
It is. I know I'm scaring. So go ahead, Anne Marie.
I have nothing to say.
Wow.
Participate.
Anybody? Okay. Oh,
Guilt.
guilt?
Is it on? Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's on. Got to talk right into it.
Yes, guilt, yes.
Okay. Vince, what does meditation mean to you?
For me, it means to basically just stop and smell the roses, because we seem to be going about 100 miles an hour all the time. And we're always trying to go from point A to point B, and once we get to point B, then we got to go to point C as fast as we can. And what we really need to do is sometimes be able to stop. And we don't allow ourselves that moment because sometimes we feel guilty about just relaxing and enjoying what we have around us.
Ah, okay. Anybody else? Okay.
I've been basically meditating regular for about 2 years. And I've learned in this 2 years that very rare now do I get real tense during the day anymore. If I start to get tense, I just stop, shut my eyes, and relax a few minutes, and I'm on down the road. And so meditation has been a blessing. It's been helps the health. I've been healthy all my life, but now I'm even getting better because of it. And it's a relaxer.
So would you say that meditation is kind of training your mind
Well,
how to be relaxed?
Yeah, I've learned how to quiet my mind. There's times I can go about 10 minutes and not have another thought come into my mind.
Wow, awesome.
It's not easy to do. It takes a lot of work.
Yep.
But if you keep at it, it brings results. And like I say, I used to get tense and all nervous. Now, basically, I'm more relaxed than I've ever been in my 69 years.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else?
And I didn't even know how to do it. I just do it.
Great.
Now he's gonna learn how to do it.
Now you're gonna learn some techniques. Awesome. Over here. Take one more then.
To me, meditation means efficiency. A lot of times I'll find myself doing a lot of work and I'll get very little done. And then I say, okay, well, I'll take 4 days and just be consistent, do meditation. Then stuff gets done for me. And I'm like, where did that person get that idea to do that work that I wasn't getting done for a long time? So that's what it does for me.
Awesome. So anyone want to offer some of the benefits of meditation? We've heard stress reduction, getting things done, relaxation. Anyone else? Did we miss anything?
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness. That's awesome. Go ahead.
It tends to, when I'm overwhelmed, I think it's a lot what you were saying, it just grounds me.
It grounds you. Okay.
Yep.
So that's an interesting thing. Most people view meditation as very spiritual and going up, but it's grounding too, isn't it? Amazing how when you open up. Awesome.
I don't think you can separate that.
Okay.
There's no separation from that.
You're right. Wasn't going there yet, but we'll go there. Okay. That works. If you want to just turn it off and hold it, that'd be awesome. So the interesting thing, the reason why I asked this is because if you do a literature review, and there's several different authors who have done it, they found there is no consensus in the literature defining exactly what meditation is. You can't, a definition, this is this. There is none because it's a group of practices and it's very individual. There's 6 billion people in the world? And probably 6 billion different ways of meditating. But going through, they have put some general definitions together. So this gives us a basis to go on. Meditation refers to a family of practices in which practitioners train their minds or self-induce a mode of consciousness to realize benefit. Sounds familiar with what we just said. Practitioners attempt to get beyond the reflexive thinking or logical mind and access a deeper, more devout, or more relaxed state. Sounds pretty good, huh? Another report said, meditation refers to a family of self-regulation practices that focus on training attention and awareness in order to bring mental processes under greater voluntary control, quieting the busy mind, grounding ourselves, and thereby foster general mental well-being and development and/or specific capacities such as calm, clarity, and concentration, or magically getting things done without having to work so hard. So throughout the studies, they found there's 3 main parts about meditation. These are the 3 parts we're going to concentrate on tonight. First of all, it's a self-induced state. No one can put you in meditation, okay? That's one of the big differences between meditation and hypnosis or anything like that, is you do it yourself, it's voluntary. There's a logical relaxation. That logical, analytical, critical part of your mind relaxes. The judge is quiet. And I'm going to explain more about the judge in just a moment. And there's a defined technique. You'll find that there are different techniques. There's a difference between meditation and daydreaming. Daydreaming, you kind of wander. Meditation, you have a technique and something to do. Now, that technique can be just about anything. We talked a little about the logical parts of the mind. So let's talk about the mind for a second. Now, I'm not talking about the brain, that organ that sits in your head. I'm talking about your mind, okay? Your mind has 3 parts. The 2 big parts you hear about most of the time are your conscious and your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is your rational, thinking part, okay? This is your analytical part. This is the part that can hold 7 plus or minus 3 pieces of information at any given time. When you're thinking, when you're writing, when you're striving, that's what your conscious mind is doing, okay? It's kind of critical. Your subconscious mind, okay, is a lot like a computer. Anything in there is assumed to be true. The subconscious mind also controls your autonomic nervous system, things like keeping your heart going, temperature regulation, everything else is by the subconscious mind. It's also the storehouse of all your emotions and all of your memories. When you think back to the state when you were a child and something happened, that's your subconscious mind. Now, anything in your subconscious mind is assumed to be true, okay? That's really important. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Then this other little area here, and Carl Jung first talked about that, is called the super subconscious mind. There's a part of our mind that's connected to that universal consciousness. You ever notice things like pyramids have popped up all around the world at the same time? We all seem to be connected. Archetypes are throughout history and throughout cultures, cross-culturally. We are all connected as a human species, as a human mass mind, connected through the super subconscious. From a spiritual context, too, a lot of times this refers to our connection to the divine. So we have 3 parts of the mind, okay? We have that critical part, then we have that subconscious computer logical part, and then on top of that we have the super subconscious when we're going through. Now, if you notice we've got that little dashed line right there, right? That's called the critical factor, okay? Remember I said anything in the subconscious is assumed to be true? Well, what do you do with information that's not true, okay? For instance, let's take someone who's a smoker for just a minute. I do a lot of work with smoking cessation, and so I'm a smoker, it's right here. Well, they want to think positive and get over the smoking, right? So their conscious mind's going to go, I'm a non-smoker. Well, that judging critical mind right there goes, or critical factor goes, nope. Okay. Likewise, take someone who is not a smoker. You offer them a cigarette. That critical mind goes, nope. So see, the critical factor is neither good nor bad. It simply is. Okay. When we talked about in meditation relaxing that critical thinking part of our mind, what we're really saying is taking this judge and letting him take a nap for a little bit, and you consciously choosing what you're thinking, which means that we can take our conscious mind and change some of what our subconscious says. Another part about meditation is that it also allows us from the consciously to choose to start talking to that super subconscious. When you hear the terms enlightenment, right, or connection, you're really connecting not only to your higher part of your minds, but the highest part of yourself as well. And this is how this is working, by taking and just putting to rest that critical factor judge for a little bit. Does it go away? No. And I will tell you this too, that through meditation hypnosis, at any time you're doing any mental work, that critical factor, if you hit a certain point where it's like, no way that I could believe that, you're not going to believe it, okay? This is not brainwashing. Nothing we're going to do here is going to have anything that you don't want to do, okay? But we can go through and take some of these old habits and simply quiet them for a little bit. So what exactly is meditation? So we've talked about these definitions about quieting the critical factor, right? Or quieting that critical part of the mind. We're talking about a certain technique and it's voluntary. Well, think about it. We have a normal mind throughout a day and we have all these thoughts running through our heads. We've got work, we've got stress, we've got school, we've got to pick up the kids at 3 o'clock, take them here at 4, boom, 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 right? We have all these thoughts probably running through. The idea of having 10 minutes without a thought sounds like a vacation, doesn't it? We actually do that a little bit tomorrow too, but that's a little there. Thank you for the advertisement. Okay? So in meditation, what if we could do a practice and come up with something to clear our thoughts for a minute and then choose what we want to think? I just said we could do that with the mind, right? Well, what if we could do that? In fact, that's what we're going to be doing, and that's what meditation's all about. So really, if you look at it, a good working definition of meditation is simply powerfully choosing to clear your mind and then picking your dominant thoughts through a defined technique. How's that sound? Not so mystical anymore, is it? Kind of nice mystical, but this, as I said, this is the engineer in me saying, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take some defined techniques. We're going to choose what we want to think and think it. Sound good? Cool. I like to refer to it as rebooting your brain. That's real. How many of you have a computer? Right? You ever know sometimes it runs really slow? So what do? Reset, right? Boom. Of course, I talk to a bunch of middle schoolers and they just leave it. Whatever. But next generation. But you reboot it, right? Meditation is simply quieting your mind. To reboot it and then letting it come back in full throttle. Like for instance, all of a sudden everything works and you're more efficient. Why? Because you don't have those stupid little programs running in the background. They're clear. And effectively, that's exactly what you're doing. So a couple meditation myths we'll talk about, and we're going to get to the more active part. This is giving everything at first. This is my favorite one. Is meditation against my religion? Well, let's talk about that for a second. What did I just say meditation was? Choosing to think a certain way and do a technique, right? There's no religion at all in it. Now, I will tell you, because we access the higher parts, okay, and because in a context, throughout history, religions and different faiths have chosen meditation techniques that go with it. A Buddhist meditation uses different techniques than a Hindu meditation, than a Muslim meditation, than a Christian meditation, than just a New Age meditation or simply a clinical meditation. It depends on the technique you use is where the religion comes in. So meditation in and of itself is simply an exercise for your mind. And for as long as your religion lets you think, which last time I checked they all do, it works. Okay? Does that make sense? Any questions with that? It's an important one. Okay. The other part I get a lot, what about leaving my body? How many of you have heard that from the meditation? Come back to your body. You've heard that, okay? Now I'm going to offer you to try an example here. Okay? I want you to take your left hand and put it on your lap. Okay? Now I want you to look at your right hand. Okay? I want you to really look at your right hand for a second and notice, become aware of the sensation of the air maybe on the right hand. Can you feel that as you're staring at it? Now look at those lines. Wow, isn't that cool? And now move your hand back and forth just a little bit. Notice how the lines change, the shadows change on them. Right, maybe turn your hand around. Okay. Now, as you're paying attention to the right hand, are you really aware of what your left hand's doing? Now you are, because you're just thinking about it, aren't you? You're coming back to your left hand, huh? So maybe, and this is what's really happening when we say about leaving my body, come back to your body, you're focusing on your mind. Okay? You're focusing on other parts. You're not focusing on your fingers and your toes. When we say come back to your body, it's come back to awareness of where, of this glove, just like the left hand, of where you are. You never really left. It says, if I'm paying attention to my right hand, did my left hand go away? No. The same thing there. It's where your awareness goes. Okay, so I want to be very clear with that. You're not leaving and taking an astral trip or anything like that. Now some people, there are techniques you can do. None of them we're doing tonight, okay? But really, we're just focusing on a different part. We're not focusing on this or that. So I'm saying, hey, come back down. Why? Because it's nice to have your attention. Because if you go inside to that subconscious mind or the super subconscious, you turn inward. What we're saying really is look back out around. And how many of you ever focused on something so intense someone can walk right up beside you? Does that ever happen? Whoa, hello. Okay? That's exactly the same thing. Let's go through some of the benefits of meditation real quick. Stress reduction. We've talked about that. Why does it work? Because we take all those stressful thoughts and quiet them down. Okay? Sharpened mental acuity. We train our minds to think a certain way. Well, our mind is a muscle like everything else. We just have to train it a little bit differently. Mindfulness. This is an interesting term. How many of you have ever heard the term mindfulness before? Okay? Being mindful of something means you observe it without judgment. Remember we talked about turning that judge off, right? That critical factor also is critical of just about everything. Okay? So by turning it off, we learn to say, hey, you know what? I've got this pain in my arm. Okay? I'm not saying you do, I'm just using it as an example, okay? Well, it's there. I'm not going to worry about it. And what you'll find is that held emotions, held thoughts are what causes pain. By acknowledging them, a lot of times they just simply go away. And we'll talk a little bit more about this. Actually, in the Thursday night, we talk more about this. But meditation can definitely help with that. Increasing energy and health by learning how to fire on all 10 cylinders, rebooting your program. It works, and the clinical studies have all proven this as well. The best benefit I like is actually a quote from Einstein. One cannot alter a condition with the same mindset that created it in the first place. How many of you want more in your life? Anybody? You want something different? You want to change something? Not change, but evolve, grow, right? You don't want to be stuck. You want to change things. Well, if you want to change something, you have to change your mindset first. How do you change your mindset? Well, if I've got a computer that's kind of stuck with one thing, you turn it off, you turn it back on, right? Same thing, rebooting your brain. That's what meditation is at its core. Okay? There are different techniques to do it, different things to do it, but the idea is to access your full childlike energy.